If their candles were to go out, they would never find their way out.
Back in the 1800s, slate was gold, and Wales had some of the richest veins in the world. Men mined millions of tons by hand, carving their way through the mountains. Welsh slate built empires, but at what cost? Beneath the beauty is where many men took their last breath, never to see daylight again. I want to take you back in time to see life through their eyes, but first we must get ready to descend over 1,800 foot below the surface.
And this is how we're making our way to start the slate quarry adventure. Over 200 years ago, they would never have started in a Land Rover truck. They would have marched up here or even on a horse's back. But this is the 21st century and this is how we do it now, baby. We are nowhere near the mine yet and there are tons and tons of slate just scattered everywhere, and this is just the scraps. This is just the stuff that didn't make it to people's houses' roof, bridges and other accessories that they used to build with back in the day. The old slate miners' houses are scattered throughout this whole entire area. You can just see abandoned buildings scattered everywhere around the bottom of this slate mine. So they didn't have to travel far to go home, and then they didn't have to travel back far to go to work. Incredible. Many families have sat in these exact rooms right here and told stories about people dying or losing limbs in this mine. Now we have to wear all this safety gear. When they were using these mines, what kind of safety gear would they have worn? Or nothing? Nothing at all. They would have just worn their own clothes and gone into the mine. And today we're kitting out ourselves in all of this gear, but back over 200 years ago, they wore literally nothing.
The only clothing they wore was a material used for making the canvas sails on ships, called festin, which was sold to them from a company in Lancashire, and it only came in one colour, white.
We're making our way up to the entrance of the mine that is only 50 metres away, and then we are going down to where kids actually used to start at the age of 8 years old, and they used to work for the rest of their lives in this same mine, which is quite sad if you think about it. They never really got to experience a childhood or any kind of life at all. For what was then was work was also their kind of prison. I'm in North Wales and I'm here to explore the old forgotten slate mine of men that lived extraordinary lives underground. And we're going to head in right now and start this mission where we're going to see how the old slate miners used to live hundreds of years ago. You can feel the coldness just hit you instantly. You really have to duck down here. Slate miners must have been really shorter than me to get through these tunnels. We've got the decision, we can either go left or we can go right.
It's on you.
We're going to go that way.
Every piece of slate that you see on the surface at one point in its journey from being underground to out there was picked up by hand and put into a wagon and pushed by hand. So there could be a ton of rock most. They couldn't push it up a 45-degree slope, so they used a steam engine.
We've got the old slate miner's boot that is over 150 years old and still just sitting there as someone left it years ago. That is incredible. They used to whack nails into the bottom of their soles just to give them grip so they didn't slip around this mine, because it is so wet and damp in here. It is insane.
The mine carts and the tracks and the cables that you see here, they would have been all over the place. Everywhere that we walk today would have had those. But these guys had to be resourceful. They had to provide all of their own work equipment. So once they'd finished working one floor and they descended down to extract slate from the floors below, they would then take that equipment down with them, so they didn't have to
move it floor by floor.
Exactly. So yeah, these guys were self-employed, so they had to provide all of their own work equipment basically. And they had to buy all of that from the mine owner. So there were local shops and things all owned by the mine owner. So all of that money kind of that the mine owner paid them for working would then go straight back into his pocket.
So the owner of the mine never provided them with any equipment. They had to work here, provide their own equipment, and then at the end of the week, the money that they earned, they then had to give it back to the mine owner to pay for the rent of their house.
Exactly. So technically it wasn't slavery because they were being paid, but it's borderline.
It's borderline slavery. I think we could say it was basically slavery. Wow, this floor is so slippy.
You're getting your slate legs.
That's it.
Yeah, you'll be alright in a minute. I think we might have to scrap.
Oh, there's an old slate cart that has literally been flipped upside down. Part of it is missing, but a lot of it is still here. I have no idea how long this has been here. How long has this been here? Do you guys know?
Over 100 years.
100 years just sat here? Or...
Just sat there.
Wow, that's crazy. And now we're heading further down the tunnel into what looks like the abyss. To think years ago, they actually used to do all of this just by candlelight. They never had head torches, normal torches, absolutely nothing. It was pitch black, just with a candle in their hand and a pickaxe in the other. And they used to just march up and down here all day for up to 12 hours a day. There's another cart that has just been flipped as it's landed, as it's come all the way down the hill. It has just spiraled out of control and just got wedged there.
This used to be the bottom of the mine.
Yeah.
And they obviously carried on driving the incline further. So after it wasn't the bottom of the mine anymore, they still wanted to work chambers further away. So they had to build wooden bridges to be able to get the wagons across different spaces. So we find old wooden bridges throughout the work.
So it was basically to repair their own work from what they'd smashed out.
Yeah, they'd taken out products.
And then bridged the way across.
Yeah.
Soft as a pound.
Fred just don't care. He's like, yeah, I'm going to smash it. This one on the wall, I'm guessing, is for the water.
Compressed air.
Compressed air.
That's the water.
And how would they have made the compressed air? Off like a generator?
And no, a big boiler, burning coal, heating up the water, produces steam. And that steam turns an engine, and that engine sucks the water out or pumps it up.
How fresh would the air have been, though?
No, the air was used for rock drilling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not to
nothing
provide
else.
ventilation air, no?
No.
So there was no ventilation, it was
No
just
ventilation,
purely
yeah.
so they could carry on working.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you can't breathe, it's just so you can carry on working.
Exactly.
They did design the mine so that when we got to the entrance, you could feel the breeze.
Yeah.
And that's because they designed the mine to draw air through, so that it would take out some of that dust.
So they've got holes at different entry points.
Yeah, there's different. There were different entrances. So the other side of the mountain is a working quarry, and that's open. So air can come from the other side
Through
of the
there,
mountain.
travel all the way through.
Yeah.
Through over 100 kilometre of tunnels.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it goes to every corner, but yeah,
It's making its way through because you can feel a good breeze here.
Yeah.
Got to try and get through here with a rucksack and everything. I don't know how these guys used to do it with pickaxes and dynamite. I'd been worried about blowing myself up. Oh. We're through.
It's not designed for big people, this. I'm coming in head first. I'm gonna come down head first, Lee.
That is so elegant. I think you've done that beautifully.
So elegant. Well done.
Years ago, when the miners were working here, they wouldn't have used any
Absolutely. nothing.
support at all.
No.
They would have just walked across it with no guide ropes. Or
There would be a chain or a rope to hold onto,
Yep.
but they would literally be holding onto it. They have tools under their other arm because they're getting to work,
Yep.
their lunch, a drink or whatever, and they may have had a candle, but if the guy in front of you's got a candle, you don't
he
really
lit the
need
way.
it.
He lit the way.
Yeah, you might not need one.
Wow. Wow. To think we would have come across here with absolutely nothing and fell hundreds of feet down there. And now I've got to swap my clips. Somehow. It's quite nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. You can't see, but you can hear the drop straight behind you. To think people used to just march across there with pickaxes and a candle, and they didn't even have 80% of the light that we have in here today. Just one single candle for about 5 men. It's just mind-blowing to what they used to do. That just whipped all the way to the bottom down there. That must have been over 20 seconds and it just continued going. I think the only reason it stopped is because it caught itself on a ledge, otherwise it would have gone way further. And that is what we just risked our lives, crossing over here with barely any support at all. We could have ended up down there. That is mad. You see the score marks in the walls? They're like long bar holes.
Yeah.
This is where they used to hand drill into the slate, wedge the dynamite in as far as they could, go and stand over there and blow this area. They used to do 5 to 7 dynamites at a time and obliterate this whole room. That's how we've ended up with a cavern this size. How do you think you would have got on with this 200 years ago, Rob, without no...
There's no chance. I would have been dead. I would have been one of the 45. I would have made it 46. 100%.
Yeah. This is unbelievably steep. It is literally like slate that is wet. That is sheer drop.
Oh, I might film that, yeah.
And we are walking over this little edge.
So that's original wire rope ladder.
Going all the way down. And that's what they would have climbed.
Yeah.
Rich, how do you reckon you would have gone down here?
I wouldn't have liked to work down here from the age of 8, which many children did, just literally hauling tools up and down, most of the time to their family relatives, just so they could continue working, just to provide dinner.
It's mad. You wouldn't have hit your head though.
I would never have hit my head. I would have got on great in the small areas, but just not so good on these big steps. Go on, Shai, you got it. Go, 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 go. Oh my God! Bearing in mind when they were working in this mine, they would have just had a little poxy ladder going straight across there. Hold up your fingers. Yeah, there we go. Whew, almost rolled off without wanting to go. Let's do it how they do it on the Discovery Channel. Quick, grab it. Oh no. I've done exactly what I didn't want to do. Oh no. Oh, I'm having to shuffle truffle me way along. Oh my God, this is not fun at all. I'm hanging 200 foot in the air. Come on, Brad, pull me up. Oh, God, he's dragging me up. We made it. Oh, we made it. I won't. Thanks, Brad. You squashed my sandwich. Squash me sandwiches. Pred, is it true about the myth that miners had that you couldn't whistle in mines? It's called the Devil's Whisper or the Devil's Song?
No, that was more in Derbyshire lead mines.
Okay.
Rather than Welsh slate mines.
Okay. But they also had a thing called miner's lung, is that right?
What you caught here, when you drill into the slate,
Yep.
it's got silicosis, silica in it.
Yep.
And when you breathe that in, it gives you silicosis on the lungs.
Yep. And what age would they start to develop that?
They started working here around about the 14 years old.
Yeah.
So once they started breathing it in. As the years progressed, by the time they were in their 20s, they could feel it. By the time they were in their 40s, their lungs were full.
So almost every miner would get it at some point in their life.
At some point in their life, yeah.
Wow, that's quite sad.
And
really.
I've got percentages of silicosis.
You've got it as well?
Yeah. After 28 years of working.
And Fred here, he is an older slate miner. What year did you stop working here?
2003.
You stopped working in the slate mines in 2003, and was there any particular reason for that? Did you retire or did you get
We were taken
courses?
over by a certain company, which weren't very nice, and I had a belly full of them.
Yeah.
And I decided enough's enough.
You had enough of them?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So it's actually a privilege to be with someone who's actually worked in a slate mine, so he's experienced it to its full potential. And he still comes back down here today to show others how they used to work. You're a brave man, Fred. You're a brave man.
Labourers could expect to live until they were 45 years of age, while slate miners could only look forward to 48 years. Widows were paid £200 on the death of their husband by accident inside the mine, which clearly shows what little value their life meant to the mine owners. The miners were fully aware of how slate dust was killing them, and so did some doctors. However, the quarry doctor during the late 1800s considered this occupation to be very healthy for the workers, and had no cause for concern despite the plumes of thick dust bellowing out of the mine.
Okay, so I'll just step out, yeah?
Step down to the left.
Oh, it's slipper.
And now, swing out.
Yeah? Oh, just swinging out over 200-foot drop. Woo. Okay, I'm suspended midair. Oh my God. Okay. How these guys used to climb all the way to the top just to drill and explode it out to get slate as a job.
Okay, we're down.
Wow. My heart was absolutely pounding then. As I was getting down lower and lower, I was going through various stages of the slate rock where you could see where the miners had put dynamite into the rock to blow it out, to work their way down and down and down until they got to this level that we're on now.
This is the deepest point we can get to in Carmarthen slate mine. Everything below us in this mine is now flooded.
It's completely flooded in here, and this water has been in here since 1930. And they have never been able to get it out. We have got to walk along this pipe that is in the water to get round the corner because the water has got so deep over the years. And this is the only thing keeping us afloat. This is so unstable. Trying not to fall in this water. This is an old tunnel years ago. Quarrymen and miners would have been singing their heart out, pickaxe whacking away as they would haul slate out of here. Wow.
Wow.
This is literally being left here. What is this, Pred?
It's remains of a tripod crane.
A tripod crane?
Yes.
And what would have that been used for?
In the middle of the floor of a chamber
Yep.
to lift a block of slate weighing a ton and a half and place it on the wagon.
Yep.
Because that flat bit of iron you see in the water, underneath there, there's 4 wheels. It's a flat wagon to cart the blocks out and up the incline to the middle above.
So this could carry some serious weight.
Oh yeah.
How much weight could this carry?
2 tons.
2 tons just on that area there? Wow. And just the equivalent, just so we know, how much would say this piece of slate here weigh?
This piece with my foot on it, slightly less than half a ton.
Half a ton.
Yeah.
So we could say approximately about 4 pieces of slate, that size,
On that.
on that.
Yep. No problem at all.
I wouldn't fancy carrying that out up there.
Quite often when you're exploring mines like this, you'll find old remains of things that the miners will have used. So on the rock here, there's a selection of old matchboxes and cigarette packets.
And what year are these cigarette packets from?
George, you know, if we have a close look, we might even be able to figure it out. What do you reckon, Pred? What sort of year are we talking for these?
1940s.
About 20 pence for a packet of cigarettes.
It didn't have the tax on it that it does now.
You can see the old track that is just showing through the water here, where they would have carted all the slate out. We are walking on 200-year-old tracks. These guys weren't just history, they created history. In the 21st century, we have headlights, but over 200 years ago, miners never had access to such thing. They used to do it by candlelight, and this is how it used to look. Just imagine what it would have been like down here. They would have had 1 candle per 5 men, because candles were expensive and they would have to buy them with their own wages. They weren't provided with them, they had to go to the shop and buy them and then come down here and do their work. And it is so dark down here, for any reason, if their candles were to go out, it would look like this. And they would never find their way out.
On a hemp rope or a chain all day long with a jumper, which is a drilling mechanism, and they'd bash into the rock, twisting it as they go. Once they came up to the collar, they would turn it around and go for the long one up to there, and that would take 8 hours to drill.
How heavy is that?
It's 10 pounds.
So to dig one hole, how long would that take?
8 hours
For one man.
for one man, one hole.
And how much was a day's wage here to do that?
If you go to the 1910s, 1911s, about 10 shillings a day, 50p
For the whole day?
for the whole day.
50p. So you could buy about 2.5 packets of cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
To think you spend 8 hours in here slaving away, buying your own candles just to walk out with the equivalent of 50 pence. So you could pretty much buy 2.5 packets of cigarettes that we have seen around the corner, and that is all you get for your day's wage. But I imagine they couldn't spend much of their money because at the end of the week they have to give it back to the quarry owner, right? For their house.
In a way, for the rent, for the supplies from the shops, which was all owned by the mine owners.
So
Yeah.
they pretty much worked to pay for their house that was provided by the same people they worked for.
Exactly.
You just can't even comprehend that, and why they actually done that. Why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense to us here today.
The quality of life enjoyed by a working miner and his family in 1843 was described as simply wretched. At that time, a 4-week budget for 2 adults and 5 children was nothing but a struggle and heartache after hundreds of hours spent down the mine. This is the least a family could live acceptably on, though many miners existed on less than £3 per month. In 1865, an exceptional worker could only earn around £4.20 a month.
This is mad. We are over 800 foot below the surface, and they have built a hotel in this cavern. This is crazy. Let's go check it out. Wow. Cool, isn't it? This is mad. We've even got the very own pond with the rubber ducks in. Whoever come up with this idea is a genius. But just bringing your bags down here is slightly difficult because we're struggling just with this. Imagine if you was coming down here for a few days with all of your clothes, toothbrush, accessories, everything, just trying to slide all the way down there so you can stay here. But it is well worth it. If you can see yourself in one of these rooms, hit the link in the description below and you can book yourself a night here over 1,800 foot deep underground. This area alone held over 38 million gallons of water, which has now been totally drained out, and we are left with this void that lies here today. Could you just imagine spending 14 hours every single day in here in this total darkness and having to find someone with a candle so he could take you to the next chamber? Otherwise you have to walk dragging your hand along the wall just so you can find your way to the end of the tunnel. What really gets me is, despite all of the danger and the low pay, there was a sense of pride between the miners and their community in here. They didn't just do it for work, they did it to be with their friends and with their families. And that was the way of life they lived. And what did they call this back in the day?
Caban.
Caban.
Caban. Caban in English means canteen. And this was a cultural place, the caban. Definitely never any swearing,
And why was that?
because they were very religious. No swearing, yeah?
Yep.
No bad language at all. There was a man in charge of the cabin,
Yep.
and when they finished eating, he would say, right, we shall discuss politics, things happening in our community. And they sort out things. They'd have singing competitions, all that kind of stuff. Put the world in place.
And what kind of food would they eat down here?
Oh, ham sandwiches, bit of cheese, as you can see.
So they would bring their own food?
Yeah, bring their own.
Nothing was prepared down here?
No, they bring their own.
So they had to bring their own lunch. So maybe their wives prepared
Yeah.
their lunch.
Yeah.
They bought it here.
That's it,
There was no actual cooking in this canteen.
No.
It was just to sit down and eat what you bought.
That's it, yeah. Can you tell me, don't come too close, who that is?
That Churchill?
Yep. Winston himself.
And why did they carve him on there?
Oh, he was a bit of a hero. He was the Prime Minister. He was doing well against the Germans during the Second World War. So, yeah. And would you believe it? Slate is a great insulator of heat. Yeah? This was a heated floor because you had the steam pipe running through.
Oh, so they had their own heating
And that would
pipe.
heat the slate. The slates would hold the heat. So this place was warm.
That's incredible, because I suppose there would have been so much water down here, they would have been feeling just like us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold, numb feet.
Yeah.
And here you can come and have your lunch and the floor is
warm up
actually
the heat.
heated and warm up. That is such an incredible idea. So smart.
200 years ago, this darkness was a man's daily light. The echoes we hear now were once filled with the rhythm of chisels, the murmur of voices, and the quiet grit of survival. Generations of men spent their lives in the belly of this earth, not for riches, but for bread, for family, for dignity. Today, I walked where they walked, I breathed the same cold air, I felt the weight of time pressing in from all sides, and I realised, history isn't just something we read, sometimes we must descend into it. To the men who toiled in silence, we remember you, and we carry your stories into the light. In memory of the slate miners, your legacy is carved in stone.
Wow, daylight at last. Whew. The smell of the fresh Welsh air hits you immediately. We have done in there 8 hours complete. It is time to leave these miners' story behind and head on to the next destination. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow me as I travel the world.